Listen, before you tell yourself everything is fine, before you convince yourself you're just being insecure, I need you to hear this. Because most men only realize the truth when it's already too late, when she's already emotionally gone, when she's already given a part of herself to someone else. And the worst part? There were signs, quiet, subtle, private signs she hoped you'd never notice. Signs that start behind closed doors, long before anything becomes obvious in public. And if you're feeling something in your gut right now, I want you to stay with me until the end of this video, because I'm going to tell you one thing at the end that every man needs to hear before he loses the wrong woman or tries to save the wrong relationship. So take a breath, sit with me, and let's look at this with brutal honesty. And before we go deeper, hit that subscribe button and like the video, because I promise you, what I'm about to tell you will change the way you understand women forever. Now, the first bedroom habit that reveals a woman is becoming unfaithful is subtle, psychological, and almost invisible unless you know exactly what you're looking for. It's not about physical distance, it's not about arguments, and it's not even about her mood. It's about the sudden shift in her inner world when she lies next to you at night. A woman can pretend during the day, she can smile, she can talk, she can perform. But at night, in the bedroom, her unconscious mind speaks louder than anything she says out loud. The way she positions her body, the way she breathes, the way she reacts to your presence. These tiny private signals reveal everything she's trying to hide. When a woman starts distancing herself emotionally, it doesn't begin with anger or complaints. It begins with draw of intimacy, not just physical intimacy, but emotional presence. A woman who is faithful, connected, and invested in a man mirrors him without even realizing it. Her body responds to yours. She faces you, she leans in, she relaxes. But when her loyalty starts shifting, even if she hasn't acted on it yet, something inside her disconnects. She turns away, she protects her space. Her body becomes a quiet barricade between you and whatever she's thinking about late at night. And trust me, women don't do this accidentally. Their bodies speak their truth long before their words ever do. There's a moment, usually quiet, usually soft, where a woman's loyalty starts to drift. And most men miss it because it feels so small, so harmless, so easy to excuse. But I want you to pay very close attention now, because this second bedroom habit doesn't look like cheating. It looks like stress, tiredness, or mood swings. And if you don't understand what's actually happening underneath the surface, you'll blame yourself instead of seeing the truth. This habit is the sudden disappearance of emotional vulnerability at night, when she stops opening up, when she's no longer sharing her thoughts before falling asleep, when the conversations that once made you feel close now feel one-sided or forced. Women don't shut down in the bedroom unless something inside them is shifting. A woman who is emotionally loyal will naturally seek connection before sleep. She'll tell you how she feels. She'll check on your mood. She'll reach for you without thinking. But when her attention, validation, or emotional excitement is coming from somewhere else, especially another man, you will feel a strange silence settle into the bedroom. Not the comfortable kind, the distant kind. She becomes guarded. Her answers become shorter. Her voice gets flatter. And the emotional energy that used to spill out of her effortlessly now feels like something she's rationing. Women don't withdraw emotionally without a reason. And contrary to what most men believe, the first reason isn't usually anger. It's guilt. Guilt changes a woman's behavior in ways she can't fully control. She becomes cautious with her words. She becomes selective with what she shares. She fears slipping up, revealing too much, or exposing the conflict happening inside her. So instead of risking honesty, she gives you less. She reveals less. She engages less. And that emotional shrinking almost always happens in the bedroom first. Here's the part many men don't understand. When a woman is emotionally loyal, her openness flows naturally. But when she's attaching emotionally elsewhere, even slightly, she subconsciously starts protecting that attachment. She stops telling you things, not because she wants to hurt you, but because she wants to protect the feeling she's getting somewhere else. That silence is not just distance, it's a shift in emotional allegiance. And if you ignore it, she will drift further. Because emotional secrecy is the first step toward emotional investment. And emotional investment is the real beginning of unfaithfulness. There's a pattern women fall into when their loyalty starts slipping. One that's so subtle, most men never recognize it until the damage is done. And this third bedroom habit is one of the strongest indicators a woman's mind is drifting somewhere it shouldn't. It's not dramatic. It's not loud. It's not the kind of thing she'll ever admit, even to herself. It's the sudden shift in how she prepares for bed. A woman's nighttime routine is one of the most honest windows into her emotional state, because it's the one time of day when she stops performing for the world and becomes her real self. And when that routine changes overnight, trust me, something inside her has already changed. A woman who is connected to you will relax around you. She'll get comfortable, she'll let her guard down, she'll move with ease because she feels emotionally safe in your presence. But when a woman starts becoming unfaithful, emotionally or physically, you'll notice a strange contrast in her behavior. She either becomes suddenly distant and careless, or suddenly attentive to her appearance in ways that don't match the energy of the relationship. When she's losing emotional interest, she stops caring about how she appears around you. She'll go to bed quickly, avoid eye contact, avoid conversation, and keep things as neutral as possible. Because in her mind, the emotional connection with you is dimming and she's no longer seeking your attention, approval, or desire. But on the opposite end, there's another sign, more dangerous, more telling, and much harder to catch. She starts grooming differently at night. She pays extra attention to her skin, her hair, her scent, even when there's no reason to. And if you ask why, she'll smile casually and say, just felt like it. Women rarely just feel like it. They prepare for the man who occupies their mind. If she becomes more protective of her phone during her nighttime routine, if she suddenly starts going to the bathroom longer than usual before sleep, if she fixes her appearance right before getting into bed but seems emotionally distant when she lies down, these aren't random habits. These are signs of a woman living in two emotional worlds at once. She's mentally checking out of the relationship she's in while energetically preparing for the attention she's receiving from somewhere else. And if you sense this pattern forming, don't ignore it. Silence doesn't protect you. Awareness does. There's a moment in every relationship where a man starts to feel something he can't explain. Not anger, not jealousy, but a quiet discomfort, a subtle uneasiness he doesn't want to admit even to himself. And this fourth bedroom habit is the one that triggers that feeling the most because it doesn't shout. It whispers. It shows up in tiny behaviors that don't look like betrayal at all until you look deeper. This habit is her sudden shift in physical responsiveness. Not the big moments, not intimacy itself. I'm talking about the micro moments, the small reactions, the quiet ways her body used to respond to yours without hesitation. A woman who is emotionally loyal reacts to your touch instinctively, even when she's tired, even when she's stressed, even when the day has been long. Her body recognizes safety, it recognizes connection, it softens. But when a woman starts directing her emotional energy elsewhere, you'll notice her responses begin to fade. It might be a delay in how she reacts when you place your hand on her back. It might be how she subtly stiffens instead of relaxing. It might be the lack of warmth in her voice when she says goodnight. These are the tiny cracks men feel before they understand what's causing them. Women don't lose responsiveness without an emotional shift. And the truth most men never hear is this: a woman doesn't have to touch another man for her body to start changing around you. Emotional detachment happens long before physical betrayal. When she's thinking of someone else, when she's craving someone else's attention, when she's replaying conversations in her head that don't involve you, her body reacts accordingly. She becomes present physically, but absent emotionally. She'll still lie next to you. She'll still share the same bed, but her energy is different. Her breathing is different. Her warmth is different. She pulls the blanket a little tighter. She turns her shoulders slightly away. She gives you minimal closeness, not because she's angry, but because she's conflicted. And conflict turns a woman's body cold. Here's the painful truth: a woman's physical withdrawal is rarely random. It's rarely about stress alone. It's rarely about being tired. When emotional loyalty is intact, even exhaustion doesn't erase responsiveness. But when emotional loyalty is slipping, even the smallest touch feels like a question she doesn't want to answer. And her silence becomes the answer you feel before you ever hear it. There is a kind of distance that doesn't begin with arguments, disrespect, or conflict. It begins with a feeling, a shift so small it almost feels imaginary. And this fifth bedroom habit is the one men ignore the most because it disguises itself as something harmless, something normal, something every couple goes through. But when a woman starts doing this consistently, it reveals a truth she will never say out loud. This habit is the quiet increase in her need for privacy at night. Not dramatic isolation, not fights, not closing the door in your face. No, it's much more subtle than that. It's small requests, small changes, small barriers she places between you and what she's really thinking. It begins with her turning off her phone quicker than usual, or keeping it face down on the nightstand, or getting defensive if you casually walk near her while she's texting. She might step out of the room more often before bed. She might say she needs 5 minutes but takes longer than usual. She might start using headphones more or scrolling quietly with her body turned away from you. These tiny acts of distance are not about the phone itself. They're about the emotional world she's no longer sharing with you. A woman who is loyal in her heart is open at night, transparent, relaxed. She has nothing to hide. Her digital world and her emotional world feel aligned with you. But when she's giving someone else emotional attention, even if she hasn't crossed any physical lines, night becomes the time she protects that connection. She becomes cautious, guarded, selective. and you feel it even if you don't want to. Women don't guard their phones because they're cheating. They guard their phones because they're conflicted, and conflict breeds secrecy. Here's what most men miss. Unfaithfulness doesn't begin with betrayal. It begins with privacy. Privacy she didn't need before. Privacy she never asked for. Privacy that suddenly becomes a shield between you and the version of her you used to know. If she used to fall asleep talking to you but now scrolls in silence. If she used to cuddle into you but now protect her space. If she used to share her day openly but now offers you half-truths. These aren't random changes. These are emotional walls. And emotional walls are built only when someone else is being let inside. Don't ignore a woman's new need for privacy. It's not about space. It's about a secret she's not ready for you to see. There's a point in every man's life where he senses a shift he can't quite explain. A heaviness in the room, a quietness in the air. A feeling that something is happening in the relationship that he can't put into words. And this sixth bedroom habit is the one that confirms that silent fear. It's not dramatic, not explosive, not something you can easily confront. It's the sudden change in how she falls asleep around you. A woman's mind is never louder than it is in the moments right before sleep. And that's why this habit reveals more than anything she says during the day. A woman who is emotionally connected to you falls asleep with ease. She relaxes, her breathing softens, her body naturally gravitates toward yours because it feels safe. But when she's conflicted, when she's emotionally invested somewhere else, when she's carrying thoughts she doesn't want you to sense, you'll see it in how restless she becomes. She'll toss and turn more. She'll sigh. She'll shift her body away from you instead of toward you. She'll take longer to settle, longer to get comfortable, longer to let herself drift, because her mind isn't at peace anymore. Here's something most men never hear. Women don't lose sleep because of boredom. They lose sleep because of emotional tension. When a woman is loyal, her mind is calm around you. But when she's torn between what she has and what she's feeling elsewhere, her thoughts become a quiet storm. And that storm shows itself in the bedroom. She may choose to fall asleep facing the wall instead of facing you. She may hug a pillow, not because she needs it, but because it creates a barrier she's too afraid to create verbally. She may breathe differently, shallow, careful, almost like she's trying to keep her emotions from spilling out. These aren't coincidences. These are subconscious attempts to avoid closeness when she feels emotionally guilty. Men often think cheating starts with actions, but the real beginning is emotional conflict. An emotional conflict always shows itself at night. A woman who lies next to you but feels miles away isn't confused. She's already detaching, she's already drifting, she's already creating emotional distance to make her internal choices feel easier. When her sleep changes, her loyalty has already started shifting. Not because she wants to hurt you, but because she no longer knows where she belongs. There's a truth most men never hear until it's far too late. A woman doesn't become unfaithful overnight. She doesn't wake up one morning and decide to betray her relationship. It begins slowly, quietly, in the smallest corners of the bedroom, long before any obvious signs appear. And this seventh habit, this is the one that reveals the deepest truth of all. It's not about her body, not about her phone, not about how she sleeps. It's about the emotional atmosphere she creates around you at night. A woman who is loyal gives you emotional warmth even without speaking. But when she's drifting, when her heart is conflicted, when her thoughts belong to someone else, she unconsciously changes the entire emotional temperature of the room. You'll feel it in the way she responds to your presence, the way the air shifts when you lie beside her, the way her energy becomes guarded instead of open, distant instead of present. She doesn't have to say a single word. Her silence, her stillness, her subtle discomfort, they tell the story she's trying to hide. A woman who is emotionally invested in another man becomes emotionally absent with the man she's with. Not because she wants to hurt him, but because she can't be fully present in two emotional worlds at once. And here's the truth every man needs to understand. Unfaithfulness doesn't always start with desire. It starts with emotional escape. She begins checking out in the bedroom because the bedroom is where honesty becomes impossible to hide. At night, there are no distractions, no noise, no excuses. Just her thoughts, and the man lying next to her. And if her thoughts aren't aligned with him anymore, she will create emotional space to protect the world she's building inside her mind. But here's the part I want you to hold on to, not with fear, but with strength. Recognizing these signs isn't about panic. It's about clarity. It's about understanding your worth so deeply that you refuse to ignore what your intuition already sees. When a woman withdraws, when her energy shifts, when her presence fades, don't chase, don't beg, don't collapse. A man's power isn't in holding on to someone who's leaving. It's in standing firm in his value, knowing what he deserves, and choosing himself even when it hurts. Because the right woman doesn't make you feel confused in the dark. The right woman makes you feel chosen, even in silence, even in stillness, even at night.